Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing a spoiler review of Queen's Assassin by Melissa De La Cruz. Queen's Assassin is about Kaladin Holt, who is bloodbound to the... Bloodbound. It's different. Oh, it says bound to her by magic on the cover, on the back of the book. It's actually a blood binding, for your information. Just gonna correct everything in this book from what I read. But, you know. On the other side of the country is Shadow, who works with her aunts on a honey farm. Shadow has been working all of her life to become part of the Hearthstone Guild and become an assassin as revered as Kaladin. Did that make sense? Remotely? These two characters' paths intertwine and they have to work together to what are they doing? And here's the non-spoiler review portion of my video. I really liked Queen's Assassin. I thought it was a really well-developed book. I thought Melissa De La Cruz did a great job with her characters. And I really, overall, I loved how the world building was. I thought I could really, picture where everyone was, even, without the map. I loved the more feminist LGBTQ plus world, how it wasn't like a choice of if you're female you don't get to do stuff, if you were gay you didn't get to do stuff. It was all inclusive and I really liked that. On the more negative side, I really didn't like how some of the characters were developed. I thought that they didn't really have much of a personality, but overall it was a really interesting book and a really fast read. So if you haven't read Queen's Assassin, please go read it and then you can come back and watch my spoiler review. If you have managed to read it, then you can stick around. So the next half of this video is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't read the book, please go read it. It's so good. I highly recommend it if you like fantasy, if you like assassins, romance. It's just a really great book and it was a really fun read. Now for the second half of this video is going to be full of spoilers, so here's your warning right now. If you haven't read it and you don't want spoilers, go read the book. So how the spoiler review will work is I'm going to divide it up into 3 sections. It's going to be plot, it's going to be characters, and it's going to be romance. So Queen's Assassin starts out and we meet Shadow for the first time. And she is wandering through the forest and she comes across an abandoned temple that was used basically to pillage and destroy, ruin everyone's lives. That's my description that I'm going with. If you know what I read, if you've read the book, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, that's the best description I can give you. I don't really know what they did there. That's just what we're going to go with. And she comes across Cal, and they don't really talk. Shadow gets out of there, and she goes back to her aunt, where she finds out that her mother is sending her to the Queen's court to live as a lady in the court. Shadow doesn't like this, so she runs away. And she meets up with Kaladin, who is heading off to prison. So she hitches the next wagon to the prison, and she basically tries to rescue him. That kickstarts their journey together, and Cal and Shadow work together to root out the last of the Ephrazians and basically recover the Dayan scrolls, which is the reason Cal is still bound by blood magic. Through the journey, Cal and Shadow fall in love, but as usual, something goes wrong and they can't, because at the very last part of the book, Cal gets sentenced to prison life and Shadow is revealed to be the lost princess. So I really liked the plot of this book. I thought it was really interesting and I thought that the world building was super good, but I really didn't like the twist at the end. I thought it was really not well written, and I thought that it was really hurriedly thrown together, and I thought that personally it could have been written a little bit better, and they could have made the last part of the book a little longer as to fit more detail and explain Shadow's past and explain the princess's past. I can't remember the princess's name right now. I read this book 2 weeks ago, and I filmed it a week after reading it. So I think her name is Lilac, ? Yes, Lilac. I know my books. And Cal has to run away and escapes, and he finds the lost scrolls of Dayan. But the ending altogether was really rushed, and I felt like it could have been a lot better. And that's it. that's my thoughts on the plot. Next up is the characters. I'm going to start with Shadow. Shadow is a really well-written character. She has a goal in life, she has an arc, she develops along the way, and it's really well-written. Until the plot twist, like I talked about, which I didn't like, but we're going to get back to that later. Cal had a really nice arc. I really felt like he was pretty... I didn't really like his character from Shadow's point of view to his point of view. I felt like they were just two different people, and they didn't really like connect as well as I would have liked. Other characters in the book, Lilac wasn't really talked about at all. We didn't really know her personality. I know that she's basically Shadow, but I just didn't feel like they were the same person. I felt like their goals were pretty different, and I felt like it didn't really connect as well as I would have liked. Like what I said with the plot twist, they didn't connect at all. They didn't, you know what I mean. The Duke and Duchess, even though they were not actually the Duke and Duchess, they were the Frasons, but they were pretty well written. I felt like the Duke didn't really have much of an arc. He didn't really he was like a cardboard cutout of a character. He didn't really have like a backstory or an arc or really a personality. The Duchess I really liked up until she, wasn't a Frasen and tried to, murder everyone. I don't know if that happened. Again, I read the book a long time ago, but the Duchess I really liked. I thought she had a pretty good personality. She was a little annoying at first, but she kind of grew on me. And I thought that she had a really good character development. She had a really nice, personality that I could differ from the other, members of the royalty, higher monarch. I don't know how the word hierarchy. That's the word, hierarchy. So I really liked that. The prince who marries Lilac at the end of it. I don't know, like a cardboard cutout. He didn't really feel like it was there. He didn't feel like they're there. I don't know. I didn't really like it. I didn't appreciate it. I also shipped Cal and Shadow, and I didn't appreciate that she was betrayed. But, monarchy, queens and kings are kind of a pain. So, you get what you get, throw a fit. At least there's a nice unity going on, even if the characters didn't really, you know what I mean. I'm doing such a good job today, I can really feel it. This is a great video. I'm so sleep deprived. I stayed up till 1 reading last night. It wasn't healthy. Next section is romance. As I said previously in characters, I did ship Cal and Shadow. I thought that they had a really good dynamic by the end of the book, and I really felt like they worked really well together. I really liked the amount of side amount of LGBTQ characters. I really felt like they were really well written, and there wasn't a big deal made out of them, which I feel like is really how you should write LGBTQ characters in fantasy worlds. Unless they're being persecuted for being gay, it's not a big deal. I really liked the aunts. Their relationship was really cute, and I can't remember his name right now. The two guys at the very end with I was the court. I can't remember. I didn't like at the very end when she got betrothed, because there was no mention of her getting betrothed to anyone. Lilac getting betrothed to the prince, whose name I can't remember for the life of me. Maybe it's Henry. I don't know. I can't remember. Comment down below if you remember his name, and maybe I'll look it up and I might edit it back in. If not, I'll just... He's the prince. He's the prince of the other country that they go to with the Duchess and the Duke. I'm doing a great job today, if you can't tell. I really didn't like that they got betrothed, because I felt like there wasn't a lot leading up to the betrothal. I feel like most times you hear about betrothals being this widespread thing, but it really happened really quickly. And maybe that's just how their world works, but I feel like in most fantasy worlds, or at least with monarchies, it's pretty widespread that everyone knows it, and it's not just a secret thing that happens like that. That's really all I have to say on romance. There wasn't a lot of it in the book, which I kind of liked, because it was mostly an adventure story, and it wasn't too focused on romance. Overall, romance was cute. I'm mad that Shadow and Cal didn't end up together. And that was my very first book review. There will be more of these coming. I'm just finishing up the Harry Potter series. Book 7, y'all. Already cried 3 times. It's not good. Please hit the like button and subscribe down below. And comment what other videos you'd like me to see me do, because you read your comments. So please like and subscribe, and have a great day.